So now I'm going to start by sharing my screen. I'm someone that when I want to start, when I want to speak, I love to have some slide as I believe this enables me to actually connect and communicate with the audience. The audience can also interact really well with what I have to offer. And, there's something they call visual direction or visual communication. And visual communication is something that really helps the audience to relate. Instead of just you hearing my words or hearing me talk, you get to still see where I'm talking from and you can also relate and connect with it. And I think that's pretty amazing. And I would say that it is really going to be a fun session. I won't take much of your time anyway because this is more of a beginner thing. So I'm going to try to make it as simple as possible that each of us can be able to understand and know what we need to do. And for those of you who feel you are not new to the design industry, but I believe you are still here for a purpose, right? Maybe there's something there's a question that you want answered, or there's something you want to you want like there's this thing you want answered, and I believe that is one of the reasons why you're here. So I'm going to begin sharing my screen now, and I want to take it that everybody can see my screen. I want to take it that everybody can see my screen, right? Okay, that's wonderful. So, like I said, I'm going to make sure that what we are going to be studying today in this particular session is going to be really, really broken down in in a way that it is going to be very well explanatory and it is going to be something that everybody would be able to understand. So, even if you're a newbie or you're just a designer who is trying to find your way, or you've been in the design industry for years, but you're still trying to find your balance, this is still a session for you because one thing I know for sure is that building your brand online is a continuous game. The tech industry is changing, things are moving fast, and sometimes we feel lost in the crowd and we don't even know where to start. Some of us we are trying to start out, but we don't know how to start. We feel we are late to the party. While there are still a lot of us who have been in the industry or who have been in the internet space, and we are still trying to find it difficult for us to get that sort of recognition and authority that we are trying to build. And that's our own, pattern. And that's what we'll be studying together. So today we'll be talking about building your brand online as a newbie designer. Building your brand online. This is very important because your skills alone nowadays can't just do the job for you. You need to have an online presence, and not just any online presence. You need to have a solid online presence that will enable you to actually build your brand online. And you need to know some of the strategies that you need to equip yourself in order for you to build a solid brand. Not just building a brand, but building a solid brand in the online space, especially as a newbie designer. In today's session, you're going to see a lot of mistakes that a lot of newbie designers make and how you can avoid them, and you still learn some strategies that will also enable you to either start or to boost your online presence or your brand online if you've already started. So, without further ado, let me quickly introduce myself. Hello, I'm Oluebubechukwu. I'm a brand and visual identity designer, and many of you, some of you already know me, some of you don't. The Our moderator for today's session already introduced me, so let me just do it for the sake of formality and just still reintroduce myself. And like I said, for you guys to connect with me, so that anything that I get to say today, you guys will be able to flow along and understand me and go with me. So this is me. Just trying to make sense of certain things in life. Even though sometimes the audience are not listening to you, but you still have to do the work. And so it's really been a journey for me. I've been in design, like I've been in the design industry professionally for over half a decade now. For over half a decade, yes. So I've been in the design industry for over half a decade, and I've been trying to be the best I can be as a designer. I founded my own design agency in 2021, and by God's grace, it's still there. I also have a design academy called Vix Academy, and things have been wonderful by God's grace. And also, when it comes to public speaking, I think this should be my second year as a public speaker professionally. I can remember my first public speaking happened in early 2022 or late 2021, just there about. Just invited for a quick live Instagram live session. That was when I was like, oh, so this is how it is. And I was like, okay, I think that was around November, December of 2021 that I was invited to speak on a live session, on an Instagram live session. And that was my ever first public speaking, if I can use that word. It was the first time I was invited to speak on something that I already know, like to speak on design. And that was when I was like, I really picked the interest. So I decided to go into it professionally in 2022. And since then, I've been a public speaker, speaking at events both online and physical. I don't know if any of you knew, but last year, some of you know this Facebook group they called NGD. So during last year's NGDX, their conference last year, I was invited to be one of the speakers in Lagos, and I had to travel down all the way from Benin City down to Lagos State to speak at the event. So it has really been a jolly ride for me when it comes to the public speaking aspect. And public speaking is something that I've enjoyed doing because I always find it refreshing sharing knowledge and sharing my experiences with my audience. Like being able to share, just like what I'm doing now, being able to share and guide individuals, to guide my fellow designers, to guide people in the design industry. Being able to do that has always been a refreshing thing for me, and I always value whenever I get to speak or whenever I have the opportunity to speak at an event. So that's basically it about me. And yes, basically what we're going to be covering in today's session. We'll be covering this in today's session, which is what exactly is a brand and why does it matter. Number two, the power of an online presence, how to start building your brand online even with zero experience, and tips for standing out and growing as a designer. So these are the key things you are going to be covering in today's session. So I'll advise you guys to please stick with me and listen attentively because I have a lot to offer you this evening. Like I said, I'm not going to take much of your time, but then again, you're going to be going home. I know many of you are already at home, but you're going to be leaving today's session with a lot of value, and that is something I promise you. So let's begin. What is a brand? So when you hear the word brand, what does it really mean? Like many people say it, I have a brand, I have a business brand, I have a personal brand, I have a corporate brand, I have a this one brand, I have a that one brand. What exactly is a brand? So let's look at it together. Now, in this case, what we're talking about today, we be more on the personal branding side of things because you are kind of promoting yourself as a designer, right? Many of us don't have it as a business. We are mostly maybe freelancers. Maybe we are freelancers. We don't really own a design agency to say, okay, we want to promote our design business, right? Though what you're doing is still a design business, but it is more on a you side than a we side. If you understand what I'm trying to say, it is more on a you side than a we side. What I mean by you is it is you. You are the accountant, you are the designer, you are the customer service person, you are the creative director, you are the photographer, you are the Photoshop retoucher, you are the cleaner of your workspace, you are everything. You employ yourself, you sack yourself, you manage your finances, you do basically everything. You are the UI UX designer, you are the logo designer, you are the web designer, you are a one man show. So you are basically a you team. If it was a we team, which is maybe a design agency or whatever, that means you have a team, whether it's a contract team or a team you put on salary, but you have a team that work with you that you either get to pay a salary or they come together whenever there's a project. So maybe you have somebody who's handling web design, you have somebody handling logo design, you have somebody handling UI UX, you have somebody handling motion and whatever. So, but in this case, it is more of a you thing than a we thing. So, whatever I'm going to be explaining today is going to be coming from the side of a personal brand than than the business brand. So now, really, what is a brand? Now, your brand is more than just a logo. And I'm sure many of us who are designers must have heard this a lot, or we must have seen content about this a lot from maybe those of us who follow people like Rizzu and some other top, authorities in the design industry. You must have heard this a lot. Your brand is more than just a logo. A logo is just a piece of your brand's identity, but it is not the whole of your logo. Sorry, it is not the whole of your brand. So now, what really is a brand? A brand is how people perceive you, your skills, your personality, and your voice. It is what, in fact, let me just put it this way. The real definition here is that it is what people say about you when you are not in the room. That is basically what a brand is, right? So when we are talking about a brand, whether it is a personal brand or a business brand, but it is that feeling people get to have whenever your name is mentioned. When your name is mentioned in a place or to somebody that knows you, how do they get to feel about your name being mentioned? That is what a brand is. So if your name is Elijah or your name is Collins, as we have here, let's say your name is Collins, for example. Now, when people that know you as Collins, or people that know you, they know your personality, they know your skills, they know the things you stand for, which is your voice. Your voice is not like your voice, like the way you sound. We're talking about what are the things you stand for, what are your qualities, what are your values, what are those things that people you are being known for. Now, that is what they call your voice. For example, many of us know very dark black man. We know what he stands for. We know who he is. We know what he fights for. That is his voice. That's what we're talking about. That's what we mean by voice, right? So, what is your voice? What is your personality? What are your skills? How do people perceive you? And this order of your qualities. How do people sense you? How do people see you? What do they feel about you? What do they sense about you? When your name is mentioned in their midst or to their hearing, what is the first thing that comes to their mind? That is what a brand is. So you need to ask yourself, when my name is mentioned to somebody, what do they feel? Do they feel that I'm a good designer or I'm a bad designer? Do they feel I'm somebody who knows what's up? I'm somebody who does not know what's up? Many of you who know me, I'm not here to judge, or I'm not here to find the result, but I'm definitely sure that you have, for those of you who know me, I'm definitely sure you have a feeling whenever my name is mentioned. Some of you who know me, and maybe you saw the design that was made for this conference, and you saw that I was going to be speaking at the conference. There must surely be a reason. There must surely be something you felt about seeing me on the poster, and I'm definitely sure that is one of the reasons why many of you are here today, because you feel you know this person and you know probably he delivers value, and his session is not a session I want to miss because he's going to deliver value to me. That is so that thing you felt about me is now my brand. And that is what I'm trying to explain to you. So it's more than my logo, because I'm definitely sure that many of you don't even know how my logo might look like. Like if you see my logo tomorrow outside, you might not even know how it looks like, right? Maybe because it's not that popular or whatever. But you know me, you know the name, Mr. Ulu, you know possibly what I stand for, you know my expertise, you know my skills, you know my personality. At least from what you see online and all of those things, you should know a bit about some of these things about me. So now my name was mentioned when you saw the poster. Now your name being mentioned in a room where you're not might not really be somebody mentioning your name. It could just be as my picture and my name was in the design that I'll be speaking in this conference. It could also be that kind of mention. So the moment you saw my picture and my name on the design, there must surely be a way you felt that this conference I'm possibly not going to miss it or thereabout. But for those of you who don't really like me, I understand. I believe that you're going to when you get to know me properly, you're going to like me. But my point is, however you feel about somebody is a person's brand. It's not always going to be positive anyway. It can be positive, it can be negative, but however you feel about somebody is that person's brand. Same thing with you. So however people see you or perceive you or feel about you, whenever your name is mentioned or whenever they think about you or whenever they see anything about you, is your brand. So now we've known what a brand is, but what then is a strong brand? Or what can a strong brand get you? Now, in as much as you are building your brand, but building a strong, just like what I was saying earlier, but building a strong brand is what is going to really benefit you. And that is because a strong brand opens doors to opportunities, right? It helps also build trust and sets you apart from the crowd. The reason why many of us try to say when you're trying to create a personal brand online, try to create something that stands out, it's not because we don't want you to, it's not because you're you're an alien, right? And you need to really show people that you're actually different. No, that is not basically it. The main purpose why you need to stand out is because you don't want to sound like everybody else. You don't want to look like everybody else, right? We have a lot of designers who their brand color is orange, or their major brand color is orange. And sometimes when you see this person's design, you think it's this other person's design, not knowing that it's somebody else's design. And on that person that the person that you know has orange on our post, you now think, oh, maybe it's this other person's design, not knowing that it is this person's design. So all these kind of things can really make people not to stand out in the crowd. But there's a ways you can even use, even if you're using an orange color, because orange is also part of my brand color, but it's a way you will use it, and it will also help you to stand out. And people will know that okay, this person's style of using orange is quite different. So when you see that particular orange being used, you can easily be able to identify that okay, this is this particular person's style of using orange. In as much as the person might be using orange, or orange might be part of the person's brand colors. Because apart from your logo, all these things are just your visual identity, your logo, your colors, your fonts, all these things are just visual identity of your brand. But it does not really tell how people feel about you. It is just what people can see about your brand, not what they feel about your brand. That is why there's a difference between a brand identity and a visual identity. So when I see people who claim to be brand identity designers, I tend to ask them, are you really a brand identity designer? Or a are you really a brand identity designer? Sorry. So whenever I see designers who try to say they are brand, are you really a brand identity designer, or are you a visual identity designer? Because if all you do for a brand is to design their logos, get their colors, get their fonts, and all of these things, do mock-ups, If that's all you did for that project, what you simply did is a visual identity design project, not a brand identity. Because brand identity involves a whole deeper structure. It involves the whole brand strategy, brand positioning, you know, the other things, the other message behind it, your value, your goals, your mission statement, your goal statement, your vision, your mission, your goals, all those things. It builds up what they call the brand identity, right? So your visual identity is just basically what people can see, or what can they feel is what you're talking about today. Yeah, because anybody can nowadays, anybody can emulate everybody. You come and say, oh, I have a mentor or I have somebody I'm looking for up to. And you might just want to copy the person's design style, right? You want to copy the person's design style, you want to copy the person's colors because you look up to that person is your mentor, that person is your idol, and you want to copy some things from the person. Now, you might not be able to stand out from the person, but at the end of the day, how can you be able to craft your own identity? How can you be able to craft your own brand and make sure you're able to stand out? And that is what we're going to be studying today. And that is the real purpose of a strong brand. It helps you to get noticed by giving you more opportunities. Another thing about building a brand is not just about the identity, the logo, the colors, your voice, your personality. It also involves your lifestyle. What are you disciplined about? What are your discipline? Are you disciplined? Are you what are you passionate about? What are your goals? What do you hope to achieve? What are the things that drives you? All these things to come together to build your brand. So now let's go further and see why is an online presence very important. Okay, now we've been able to get a little bit of introduction as to what a personal brand is or what a brand is. Now let's look at why an online presence is important to you. Number one, it gives you visibility. And that is number one. That is the number one thing for an online presence. It gives you visibility because we are living in an era of the internet, whereas if if you want to be really known by people that you would have never dreamed of knowing you, you have to have an online presence. You understand? I'm definitely sure many of you got to know me not because you know where I live, where I stay, or where I came from. It's not that you go to the same church with me or you went to the same school with me or anything like that. But you got to know me because I made myself to be visible in the online space. And that is one thing that is one of the major importance of having an online presence. It gives you that visibility. So if you are not online, you are invisible to most potential clients or even employers, and just general connection, right? So when you put yourself out there, you put yourself online, it gives you visibility. Number two, it gives you credibility. Now, when people get to see the things you are posting online, when you get to see the things you are putting up online, it gives you credibility because people now tend to see you as you know what you are doing. For example, now you do a client's project, you put it online. Whether it's a client's project or it's not a client's project, but you get to do it, you put it online. People get to see what you've done. They get to know that, oh, this guy have the skills, or this lady have the skills. She knows what she's doing. Why don't I hire her? Or I get to know, or that fellow designers might just want to collaborate with you. They might want to have a connection with you, which leads us to the number three, connection, right? It allows you to reach clients, collaborators, and mentors beyond your physical location. Many of us, we have mentors that are not living in the same location with us. But we have the privilege of being mentored by them because we get to see them online and they get to connect with us online, right? I'm speaking at this conference to you guys because whoever the host, which is the guy that invited me to this, which is Emmanuel, he got to know me online, he connected with me, and I connected with him, and that was made possible because we were both in the online space. So imagine I never posted myself online or I didn't have an online presence. I'm definitely sure I'm definitely sure I wouldn't be here talking, and I'm definitely sure he wouldn't have known me, and I wouldn't have known Emmanuel either. And many of you who knew me, you got to know me because I had to put myself in the online space. And I'm definitely sure that one day, by God's grace, we are all going to connect together. So that is what putting yourself in the online space gets you. It gives you visibility, it gives you credibility, and it gives you the opportunity to connect with people that you wouldn't have dreamt of connecting with. That was the online space did. I was able to speak last year at NGDS conference because I put myself in the online space. They got to see what I can deliver. They got to see that, okay, this guy knows his onion. This guy does this and he does that, and he'll be very good to deliver this, to deliver on this, and to deliver on that. And they were like, okay, why don't we invite him to speak? But imagine I never really put myself online. I'm sure that I wouldn't have had the opportunity. So put yourself out there and you get to see what the importance of online presence does. It gives you credibility, visibility, and connection. Now, how do you now start to build your online presence? or how do you start to build a brand online? Whether building your online presence or building your brand online, but how do you start? And that's what we are going to go into now. Number one, define who you are. It is very, very important. You need to first of all define who you are, and that is what is your specialty. Now, are you into branding, social media designs, or web design? And the reason why I use specialty is because I'm not a fan of what they call niche. All these things that people normally say, try to niche down, or you need to be niching down. Or I'm not really a fan of that word niche because I believe, especially as a newbie, you might not really be able to know what you are really good at until you've tried everything, right? You might constantly tell yourself that you're a logo designer, but what if you are more of a web designer than a logo designer? You need to try everything and know where your strength really lies, and then you double down on that. But does it mean you need to throw away the other skills? Of course not. You don't need to throw away the other skills. You can still hold on to those skills, but you have what they call a specialty, meaning there's something you're very specialized in. Now, for example, now we have doctors, right? But there are doctors who can't be treating amputees. But for example, now I don't know if you guys know what they call amputees, like people who they cut off their leg or they cut off their hand. There's some doctors who can handle that. Does it mean that they're not doctors? But it's just because there are doctors that are specialized in that particular kind of treatment. There's some doctors that all they do, they are surgeons. Right? There are doctors that they're just surgeons. While there are some doctors that are not surgeons, but does that make them less of a doctor? Of course not. They are still doctors. Just that surgeon doing operation and all those kind of things is not their specialty. But they are still doctors who they still attend to treat to sick people, right? There are some people that are brain surgeons, some are stomach surgeons, some are, you know, kidney surgeons. You see some people that are brain surgeons, if you tell them to come and operate on somebody who has leg problem, they cannot do it. While there are some doctors who they're just specialized on, giving care to pregnant women. Like their own job is just to deliver babies. That is what they are specialized in. But if you call them now to go and do surgery, they cannot do surgery. But they are still doctors. They know one or two things about at least still carrying out, so they can still come in to still do one or two things. But that is not their specialty. And that is what I believe designers are. You might be good in logo design, does not mean that you should just only double down on logo design. You might be missing out on clients who might need flyer design tomorrow. You understand? So, but especially when you're a newbie designer, you need to understand that you need to try out every single thing because you can't tell what you like. For example, now, if you've not tried out all the varieties of rice, you might not know which one is your favorite. Right? You might try out white rice, and maybe it's only white rice you know in your life. You might think white rice is the best, but that is because it's only white rice you've tried. But have you tried out jollof? Have you tried out fried rice? Have you tried out coconut rice? Have you tried out oil rice? For those of us who are students, we know that we know what oil rice is. Have you tried out other rice? If you know which one really is your favorite, until you try all of them before you can say, okay, I tried white rice and it's like nothing beats jollof for me or nothing beats fried rice for me. You understand? You must try everything to know which one. Does it mean that if they cook the others and come for you tomorrow, you will not eat? Of course you eat, but there's always one type that you can never resist. That's what specialty. So you have to try out every single skill around the design industry. I know it's not going to be easy because there are a lot from UI UX to web design to logo to brand identity or visual identity to flyer designs to motion and animation to illustration to game design. There are just a lot. I understand. But I'm not trying to say you should do a lot, but at least try the most common ones from flyers to visual identity to web design to UI UX or product design to maybe if you can dabble your hand into 3D design, you can try it. If you can dabble into motion design, you can try it. Then when you are able to try some of these things, you now know the one way they switch it for, but the one that you always find it fun doing. For me, I'm more of a branding person. I always derive joy. Like I can spend hours designing a logo, coming up with brand identities, crafting good brand identities. I can spend hours doing that, and I won't feel it compared to when I'm designing flyers. Like flyers will tire me. That's why I try to be so very that for those of you who know me, you know my flyers are very, very simple. I don't like stressing myself. But you can see, but I can spend days. I can even spend close to a week, or I can spend months just doing what they call a full brand identity. From the branding session to the brand strategy to every other thing, down to the logo, to the mock-ups, to the brand guideline. I can spend months doing it and I will not regret any single day. But you see flyers, 3 hours, I'm already tired. 2 hours, I'm already bored of it. But that doesn't mean I don't do it. It just means that I resonate more with branding and that becomes my specialty. And I want every other person here to try to do that. So before you define your specialty. Try to track certain things. You understand? This is the time you are allowed to do everything. After now, when you've discovered that one that always calls you, that they can wake you up around 2 o'clock in the midnight and you will not be grumbling to do it. They can wake you up and you can still answer questions on it. They can wake you up in the midnight to tackle it and you'll still be able to get up and do one or two things. That one is what you should now take as your specialty. Why use those ones? Why use the other ones to just, to support? Number two is to what is your style? You need to define your style. Are you a simple person, which is a minimalist person, or are you a maximalist? Maximalist people that overuse elements in designs, or are you a minimal person like me? I'm very simple. I like to use minimal elements. Like I just like my things to be very simple and straightforward. Are you bold? Are you playful? Are you serious? Are you formal? You need to define your style. What kind of person are you? But before you can define your style, you need to first of all define who you are, because it is who you are that will determine the kind of style you need to go with. Because if you are somebody who likes things to be well organized, like you just like things to be very simple, you can't come and start saying your style will be somebody who is a maximalist, because it might not really resonate with you. It's like you're going beyond your nature, or you're going against your nature. So sometimes you need to first of all define who you are as a person, and then that will help you to not it will not help you to transcend it into your design style. And then number three, what's your value? Why should someone work with you, or why should people get to connect with you? You need to know what's your value. Right. What is your value? Why should people follow you on Instagram? Why should they connect with you on LinkedIn? Why should they send you friend requests on Facebook? Why should they do these things? These are the reasons. Those are the things you need to know. You need to know before you start, prepare yourself for the lesson. So these are the things you need to put into your key elements in defining who you are as a designer. And then the second one, which is very, very important, and I believe a lot of designers today, we don't really get to understand this part. We still take it for a joke, is we don't have a portfolio. Many of us have a portfolio. And when I mean we don't have a portfolio, I'm not talking about that your PDF you have somewhere. I'm not talking about your Google Drive. No, I'm not talking about those things. Those are not portfolios, to be sincere with you. That is just a storage system. That is not a storage. I mean, that is a storage, not a portfolio. Definitely, what do you do with Google Drive? You store things. You don't showcase things with Google Drive. You store things there. So when I say you don't have a portfolio, please, for those of you who have a Google Drive as a portfolio, or you prepared a PDF somewhere and you're calling it your portfolio, okay, I can manage PDF a little bit. I can manage it to manage. But let's be sincere. If you really want those high paying clients, I'm not sure it's a PDF you want to be sending to them. I'm not sure it is a Google Drive link you want to be sending to them, right? So you need to take your portfolio very, very seriously. That's why I put it here. Use free tools like Behance, right? Behance is many of us already know Behance. And Behance is not only for brand or visual identity design. Behance can also be used for social media designers. It can be used for logo animators. It can be used for every category of people, right? As long as you create anything, it can even be used for UI UX designers. It can be used for web designers. So you can use Behance, which is a free tool. You don't even do anything. You just go there, create an account, and start uploading your project. You can use places like Behance if you want. It's a free tool to use, and go ahead and make use of it. Also, you can use web builder tools, or like no code web, for those of us who um you don't want to struggle a lot with coding. Maybe you're afraid of learning coding. Well, there are web builder tools that does not require you to learn how to code for you to actually create a portfolio website. So you can use platform like Wix, you can use platform like Webflow, you can use platform like Framer, and you can use platform like Vizy as for your website, for your portfolio website. For me personally, Framer is my best choice to go. These are the logos surrounding them. This is the one for Webflow, this is one for Behance, this is one for Framer, and this is the one for Wix. You understand? So you can use any of them and get yourself a very decent portfolio. You don't really need to learn how to code, right? You don't even need to learn any single thing about coding. You just need to have your design skills and just learn a little bit of, one or two things, and you can get yourself a pretty decent portfolio. And then the next one is showcase your best work, even if it's a personal or a fictional project. So whether it's a client's project or a personal project or it's a fictional project, put it up there in your portfolio. Nobody is coming to come and drag with you that it's a fictional project. And because it's a fictional project, they're not going to employ you. No, the most important thing is when clients want to hire you or people want to create a connection with you, they're not creating a connection with you because of sometimes they create connection with you because of past clients you've worked with. But most times they create connection with you or they try to hire you or they try to employ you because of what you've been able to do, problem you were able to solve. So whether it was a real problem, that is a real client project, or it was a fictional project, as long as they were able to see your design thinking process, that is the most important thing. What was your design thinking process? How did you arrive at the colors? How did you arrive? Why did you have to choose those fonts? Why did you have to choose that color? Why did you have to go with this particular logo style? All of those things are what clients or employers are looking forward to, or people that would love to connect with you online. Those are the things they're looking forward to. They're not looking forward to whether it was a real client or a fake client. That is not what they're looking for. They're looking forward to how was your thinking process, right? So let me quickly show you guys my portfolio just before we go ahead, so that you guys will see what I'm talking about. So this is my portfolio. It was done no code. It was a very decent portfolio, like very straightforward. Nothing like this is basically yeah, this is just basically my portfolio. So there was nothing like I didn't actually have any code. This is actually a full functioning website. And if you go down, you get to see some things, the way I work, some of the projects I have done in the past. Here's how I, my process. Sorry, okay. What the services I offer. This is my own personal brand, or should I say my own personal portfolio. So this is when I want to maybe apply for jobs or I want to carry out freelance work, which I don't want to involve my agency. This is the portfolio I present to my clients or to my employers. Okay, you can see these are reviews, all of that, and you can go over here and you can see some project that I've done. Um, in the past, brand and visual identity designs. And when you click on the project, you get to see the thought process, everything about the project. You don't get to see everything about the project, the name of the brand, a little bit introduction about the brand, what service I offered in that particular project, sector meaning the industry of the brand I worked with. So in this case, the brand is in the fitness industry. What year did I do the project? 2024. And then you start seeing some breakdowns of how this is not like the challenge of the brand that, all these little things. It's not just the showcase, it's not just the pictorial showcase alone, but the explanations, all these little things are what goes deeper, to define that, okay, this person didn't just wake up in the morning and just cooked up something, but he cooked up these things with reasons. He cooked up these things with a backing, like with some facts, you understand? So the solution I provided. Okay, now let's say the brand goes there. We saw the solution I provided. All this little bit of storytelling gives whoever, whether it's an employer or a client, it gives them a sense of, okay, this boy or this person, this designer knows what he or she is doing, and you get to see how everything just play online. Now I get to explain why I chose the colors that I chose, like the different colors and what they mean, their psychological impact both to the brand and to the brand's audience. And then I also talked about the fonts that I went with. Why did I have to go with that font? And I also showcased the font, sorry, the colors. And then I showcased the font itself. And then we started to do some presentation, which is the mock-ups and some other visual representation of how it works. And this is basically just a decent portfolio. And you can see that I also made this portfolio to also work both in light mode and dark mode. And I did this without even writing a single line of code. You can see both in light mode and dark mode. And I actually did this without writing any single line of code. You understand me? So this is for branding section. This is for designs, which is social media designs, all those kind of designs. So this is where I have all of them, and I uploaded them here, and I have them all here. Both the ones that are fictional, the ones that are actual client projects, have them here so that in case it's an employer tomorrow that wants to employ you for a branding project, they can see my branding project and see that, okay, this actually does branding. Though you can see, now I say something about your specialty, right? Now you can see that this little introduction I have here, I said, hi, hello, I'm Olu, a graphic designer specializing in brand and visual identity design. You can see you can see the statement I used there. Yeah, I said I'm a graphic designer. I didn't say I'm a brand designer, so it doesn't look like that is the only thing I do. It's so that I'm a graphic designer, but this is my specialty. But I can still offer you other design services. And I went ahead to show you my branding projects I've done in the past, some of the brand projects I've done in the past, and I also showed the design, just the ordinary social media designs that I have also done in the past. And all of these things are here. And then I have my about page that now showcase that now goes deeper to talk about this person you want to hire, or this person you want to work with, or this person you want to connect with. This is who he is. These are the places he works at. My career so far. It's just like those simple things you put in your CV, like your work experiences. I can also have them in my portfolio website here. And then you now have my contact page where you can contact me to say, okay, I would like to contact you. I want you to build me a design. So I have a little form here you can fill. You can write in your name, your email, the name of your company. If you want me, the name of a company that I'll be working with, and then you can now select what project you want me to do for you. Is it brand identity, visual identity, logo design, logo animation, motion design, or social media designs? You select it, Then after selecting it, you tell me a little. You write the project brief. Maybe it's something little. You can see it can even be expanded if you want. Oh, it can be expanded. Sorry about that. So these are some little things that makes up your portfolio, and then you cannot pick a date and a time, a date for the meeting and a time for the meeting, and then you submit. I'll be on my phone and I'll just receive the email that a client has submitted a form, and I can now take it off from there. Finalize the meeting time and everything. And this is your portfolio. You can present to your client, and off you go. You don't really need to stress yourself too much. And this was done without writing any single line of code, right? So that's basically what I'm talking about. Build your portfolio. Many of you joke with the portfolio. You don't have to. You need to stop doing that today. Now, number three, when it comes to building how to start, is number three is choose your social media platform wisely. Many of us, we are the type of people that will love jumping from one platform to the other, or we like doing what they call peer pressure. Okay, your friends are on Facebook, you join Facebook. Your friends now, you're seeing them that they are moving to Instagram. You follow or enter Instagram. You now see some of them and say, okay, well, it's LinkedIn now that is the cocoa. You would follow and join LinkedIn. No, that is not the best thing to do. What you need to do is that you need to choose your platform wisely. Not all platforms will work for you. You understand? You need to choose the platform that will actually work. Not all platforms will work for you. So focus on platforms where your target audience hangs out. Use Instagram for visual work, LinkedIn for what? Networking. Know what each of these social media platforms stands for and use them accordingly. You don't use Instagram for if you want to if you're the kind of person that you are interested in doing funny things or no, that is not what Instagram LinkedIn is meant for. That is Instagram. So use Instagram for visuals and LinkedIn for networking. LinkedIn is where you network with business owners, people who are really pushing money and people who are the tornado of industries in the country or in the world. These are the places you get to connect with them. And then you can use Instagram for your regular networking, your regular connection, building that extra brand and visual identity and all of those kind of things. And then use LinkedIn, but you don't need to be jumping from it. See, like me, I have a Twitter account, but I'm not even active there because Twitter is not my thing. I can say that Twitter is not. I've heard a lot of designers who have said they've gotten clients from Twitter, all of those things, but does not mean that it's going to work for everybody, right? It doesn't mean that it's going to work for everybody, but you just have to find out one that really works for you. That one that you always wake up every morning and you find yourself going to that social media. You find yourself being active more there. You find yourself getting more engagement. The goal is where your target audience is. That is the goal. It's not where everybody is. It's where your target audience is. So if you are somebody that your target audience is on Twitter, and when you post on Twitter, you get more reaction, more likes, more comments, more reposts or retweet and the rest of them. That if that is where your audience is, and whenever you post on Instagram, you get just few likes and all of those kind of things. What I mean by few likes, what I mean is you don't really get that much engagement because maybe that's not where your target audience is. Then there's no need for you investing. I'm not saying you should abandon Instagram, but there's no point in you investing a lot of time there. You can just show up once in a while and go and double down on your Twitter. So, but if Instagram is your own, like for me now, Instagram is mine. That is why you see me. I don't really post. Like I still come on Facebook, post one or two. I go post on TikTok one or two times. I go anytime. I just feel like I have excess. Maybe it has been long. I just think and be like, oh, you don't tell me I post for TikTok. Okay, okay. Which video did I post last on Instagram? Like all this my educational content I post on Instagram. Okay, when last did I post it? Okay, okay. Let me go and post one on Twitter. I'm sorry, on TikTok. That's what I do. You understand? Because TikTok is not really my domain. Instagram is. So I focus on that. So I don't say because everybody's running to Twitter, I need to go. I can have an account there, show up once in a while, but I don't need to invest a lot of time and a lot of effort there because for now, that is not where my target audience is. My target audience are on Instagram. So I double down on that. I'm currently building my own little audience on LinkedIn now. So I can start doubling down on them. So, but I didn't start LinkedIn immediately. In fact, I even became serious with LinkedIn this year. But I've been serious with Instagram since 2021 or if not 2020. But I started doubling down on LinkedIn this year. So you don't have to jump on every platform. You need to know the platform that works for you. So, and again, you need to post consistently, but not to burn out. You see, it's quality over quantity. So it's not about how many times you post in a week. It's about how consistent can you keep up with. If you are consistent in posting twice a week, be consistent with that. The goal is that whenever you post, let it be something that people will love to share. People will say, yes, this person have said something that really, really benefits me. I've learned from this today. It is quality over quantity. So there's no point in you posting almost every day of the week. And at the end of the day, out of the 7 times you posted it, because it's 7 days in a week. So there's no point in you posting 7 days in a week, and out of those 7 days, it's only one day that made sense, or only 2 days content that made sense. It's better only those 2 days that you only that those two content that make sense are the only 2 days you've posted that week. It is better that way. Next week, but at least before the next week, you've gathered on that very good content and you post it. Let it be that audience are always looking forward to seeing your content. That is the goal. Audience should always be looking forward to your content. When you are always putting your audience in a place where they got to look forward to your content, it shows that you're actually posting something of value. So it means you're posting something of quality. So that is what you need to resonate with. And then we have the other one, which is share your journey. Sharing your journey is more like sharing your process. Like when you create a design for a client, you can start from how the client contacted you and the conversation you had. Show your process, not just the finished work. So don't just come online to show only the logo you've done or the flyer you've done. There must surely be a process. All this, for those of you who know Mr. Nana Multimillionaire, as in or Nana Multimedia, some of us know him on Instagram. You see that sometimes he does these things where he hides all the layers of the design and start revealing them one by one in a real video content, right? This is also a sort of a process. You have also seen other content where you see designers come to post how, okay, the client first contacted them, they understood the brief, they outlined the brief, they did some sketching, did some presentation, did the mock-ups, and those little clips. Those are what they call sharing your journey. So don't just come and post the logo, post this one and just go. No, sometimes it's still good to share the behind the scene. They call it behind the scene. It's still okay to share the behind the scene. These things help you to build credibility. It really means that there was a good amount of time that was put into that project. And you don't know, future clients will see that video and know that, okay, this guy knows what he's doing. Because if you just show the finished work, some clients will be like, okay, this guy knows what he's doing. But when they see those behind the scene, they see your thought process, they see everything that you do to create such quality work, they get to know that, oh, this guy, he's good with what he's doing and he's actually solid. And that can lead them to them, can lead to them hiring you or considering you for either a job role or for a particular uh, design project. Then the other one is talk about what you're learning, your challenges, and your small wins. People love authenticity. Yes, that is true. So nobody forget these things that people try to come and play uh, perfect life on social media. You're a designer. You're not an influencer. You're not there to show people how you'll be flying private jets or how your face is so spotless and how you hang out with Davido and Wizkid and the rest of them. You're a designer, so you need to be there to be authentic. Show people what you're learning. If you started reading a book, a design book, show people that, oh, I just bought this design book and I started reading it. I've just finished chapter one, and this is what I learned from chapter one. These things help to connect with the audience. You understand? If you just bought a course, now this is not LinkedIn where people say, I'm pleased to share with you that I just finished a course, all those nonsense. So that's not what I'm talking about. Like maybe you picked up a course and you can just be like, you just create a real content around the course and be like, oh, the other day, while taking up this so and so course, our tutor, our instructor, he made mention of this and it got me thinking. And it got me thinking to think blah blah blah, this and this, XYZ. And before you know it's happening, you've created a content out of just a little piece of something you've learned from that course you've taken, that book you're reading, or stuff like that. And these things are ways you can share your journey. And then we now have the last one, which is engage with the community. Yeah, engage with the community. Follow other designers, comment on their work, encourage them, be active online and on online and also on online design communities, right? So many of you are here tonight. It's a way of connecting with, it's a way of engaging with the community. You are here, you are listening to me. Maybe probably after this session, you get to ask questions, you get to maybe connect with other fellow designers. Maybe you go for physical conferences, you get to connect with other designers. These are ways you can engage with the community. You can join Facebook groups, all these design Facebook groups. These are ways to connect with the community. Post in those Facebook groups if they allow posting there. Post in those Facebook groups. Share your work, share your process, share your expertise. All these things really help you in engaging with the community, and in turn, it just gives you that online visibility, credibility, and connection that you need to have. Today, I and Ajala, we are very good best of friends, but that was only made possible because of Facebook, and not just Facebook, but NGD in particular, right? In fact, he was the one that even referred me that because I'm definitely sure that they were looking for speakers maybe they were just looking for that last minute speaker for NGDS last year. And they were like, oh, maybe I have a friend I have Mr. Ulu. Why don't you just call him on board? You see, connection. You understand? I have a lot of friends. I made a lot of friends from people like Mr. Madam Julie, um, Ajala Victor, Mr. Abubakar, which many of us name as Mr. Logic, and so many of them. I was able to connect with them because of Facebook, and not just Facebook NGD. So I was able to connect with them, and these has really helped me. And not just connecting with them because of I joined Facebook or I was in the Facebook community, but I engaged the community. I liked people's posts, I commented, I also posted mine for people to also see me and see what I can be able to offer. So now, what are the tips that you can use to stand out as a newbie? What are those things? Now we've been able to see how you can build your brand online or how you can start the things you need to know to start building your brand online. How do you now stand out? You don't just I don't just want you to build a brand and you end up not being able to stand out. So how can you now be able to stand out in the online space? But before we head over there, I would like to know if we are even following, if you guys are with me, and if you guys are even following. Yes, I want to know. Are you guys following me at all? Are you guys seeing? Are you guys learning? I want to just before you go on. Okay, that's very nice. That's good. So so now, what are the tips that you can use to stand out in the online business as a newbie? Number one is develop a unique style. Experiment until you find what makes your designs you. Now, what do I mean? Now, when you start out here, it's not easy to just find that your particular style of design. It's not easy to just find that thing that can enable you to stand out, right? It's not easy, but with experimentation, you can be able to do that. Now, how do you experiment? When you're starting as a newbie designer, it's okay for you to copy. Not copy to send to a client to you can copy for the sake of experimentation. Like you see the way somebody did a design or a carousel or whatever. You can just copy that style. By copying the style, you get to learn. Sometimes you get to see you get to understand how the person even thought. Like you get to see how the person was thinking, how the person was trying to analyze that particular design problem. So through copying that person's work, you get to be able to see how the person thought, how the person did it, or what the person did. And then from there, by the time you've copied designer A, you've copied designer B, you've copied designer C, there must surely be something among their designs that really, really interest you, that sweet you on your body. There could just be some things about their designs that were so unique to their own style. And you carry those unique things. Now, since you're carrying something unique from designer A, you've carried something unique from designer B, you've carried something unique from designer C, and you join them together, you put everything together, you cannot be able to create your own personal, unique style by combining the unique thing of every other person to create your own uniqueness. Now, there's nothing new under the sun, right? Most of our designs are just recycled. Like we saw somebody do something, we copied it and just added our own little spices. That's just what creating your own style is. You look at what somebody did and you like, you kind of copied it, add your own spices on top, and you've created your own style. That's just basically how it works. So develop your own unique style. Number two, be consistent. Yes. Use the same colors, fonts, and tone across your portfolio, social media, websites, and communication. Many of you already went to I already showed you my portfolio, and you could see the sense of the whole orange in my portfolio. You already see the orange dance there, like the orange is already there. The you could already see the sense of the orange, the white, the deep background. You can see the profile picture is the same thing with what you have on my Instagram page. Like if you go to my Instagram, is the way the background of this profile picture is here or this picture is here is the way it is on my profile. So that's consistency is there. And if you go to my Instagram, and if you go to my Instagram, the same fonts that I use in preparing my slides, yeah, the same fonts that I use in preparing my slide is the same fonts that I also use on Instagram, Instagram content. So that consistency really, really helps to elevate your brand and just to help you build it and solidify it. You understand me? So be consistent. Use the same colors, font, and tone across your portfolio, social media, website, and communication. It is very, very important. So you don't want people to see something on Instagram when they go to TikTok, they are seeing something completely different. They go to LinkedIn, they are seeing a whole different thing. They go to your website, your website is a whole different thing they are seeing. I'm definitely sure many of us don't want that. So try to have that consistency all around. Then number three, be bold and network. I know many of us we are kind of introvert. I am an introvert, right? I know many of us are introverts. We don't really do well with people. We don't really know how to communicate with people. But if you really want to connect, or if you really want to grow, you just have to learn how to network with people. You understand? A little hi, a little hello, a little how are you doing? It's nice to meet you. It goes a long way. You understand? So I know many of us we just want to be in our houses from morning to night. It's not easy going out there. I understand. I'm like that. I'm an introvert. But if you really want to build your brand, you can't have an excuse. If I was having an excuse and say I don't want to show my face online, I don't want to connect, I don't want to do anything, I'm definitely sure that I am possibly not going to be where I am today. But I had to tell myself that look, if I really want to head, if I really want to go to where I'm going to, I have to connect, I have to network, I have to communicate with people, I have to be bold, and I have to network, and I have to do it. So collaborate on small projects, content, participate in design challenges, whether there's a prize to be given or there's no prize to be given, just participate. At least showing up is something, letting people know that okay, this guy did something. This guy is among the people that did this thing. It goes a long way. So you don't necessarily need to say, okay, because they're not paying for because the challenge or the design challenge or the design competition, there's no prize, you're not going to do. No, sometimes do it for yourself. Do it for your own learning. You understand? Do it because you want to learn. Do it because you want to show up. You want to show up, not show off. You want to show up. Do it because you want to show up. Do it because you want to learn. Do it because you want to connect. Let people see that this guy knows what he's doing or this guy has something to offer. Because this as an opportunity to just put yourself out there. You understand? So, and again, apply for internship. So you can apply for internship to improve and grow your skills, portfolio, and experience. Now, as a newbie designer, this is not the time you should be looking for 250 per month job or 500K per month job because the truth is, let's be this here, in a realistic way, you are likely not going to get it. You understand? If you're a newbie, maybe you had just 1 year working experience or a few months working experience, you're not going to get those kind of jobs. So looking for a 250 job or a 500K job or even a 100K job or a 150K job as a newbie, the chances are very, very low. I'm not trying to say it doesn't happen. I'm just trying to say the chances are very low. So in situations like that, what do? You apply for internship. You understand? Apply for internship. This internship, they might be free. But like what I mean by free is that they might not pay you any salary. Or even if they pay you, it might not be up to what they would have paid the regular staff. And it's fine. What the goal here is to gather skills, to grow your skills, grow your portfolio, and gather enough experience. Because when you're applying for a job, you see some people tell you at least you should have 4 years experience in design, and you know fully well that you don't have 4 years experience in design. You're a newbie, of course. You're actually a newbie. You have barely maybe it was just a few months ago you took a design course. So just a few months ago you started designing, or it was just 1 year ago you started designing. So you're a newbie. You understand me? So what you need to do is that you need everything in your power to make sure you're able to rack up enough experience so that by the time you're not applying for those 250K, 500K jobs tomorrow, you now have enough experience to back up your application. You understand? You now have enough experience to back up your application. So you need to have enough experience. So see internship not as, oh, they want to use me, or not only did they use people over. No, don't see it as using. See it as an opportunity to grow. Because see, nothing comes easy. You have to pay the sacrifice if you want to enjoy the fruit of your sacrifices. So if you really want to become one of those designers that can apply for 250K jobs, 500K jobs, you need to first of all learn how to pay the sacrifice of any 50K, 60K, or 70K, because that is when you can now be able to learn enough skills that will now enable you to build your portfolio. And by learning those skills and building your portfolio, you've also gained what? Experience, which you will now in turn use to apply for those high paying jobs that you're looking forward to. Okay, so it's very important. So now, what are the common mistakes that newbie designers make when it comes to building their online presence or when it comes to building their brand online, and how can they avoid it? Number one, when you're always waiting for the perfect work before you share anything. Now, there's no perfect job. You understand? There's always that one job that gets everything started. For those of you who can go to my Instagram, if you go to my bottom part of my page, you will see some logo designs I did back then, which, well, by today they are still good. By today's standard, they are still good. But by today's standard, they are not good. but I had to start somewhere. My carousel designs today is not as the same quality as it was in 2021. I can remember when I was designing carousels with Canva. You understand? Then my PC was bad, so I had no choice. I'm a PC designer, but in that situation, I had no choice because my PC was bad. I didn't even have money to either repair the one that was bad, talk more of even getting a new PC. So what do? I had to shop, but I had to say, okay, if I want to shop, I had to like make use of my phone. I started creating Canva carousel content with my phone, and at least I had to start somewhere. But I am here today. I'm presenting with my PC, and I'm even presenting on Figma. Like I designed my slides on Figma, not even on Canva, not even on Photoshop, not on CorelDRAW, not on Adobe Illustrator, inside of Figma. That was where I prepared my slides, and that's what I'm using to present my slide. As you can see, for those of you who are aware of Figma, you should know what I'm talking about. I actually use Figma to actually prepare my slides. I use Figma to design it, and I'm using Figma to present it. So, but I had to start somewhere. I had to start learning from somewhere before I got to where I am today, where I cannot be able to design things on Figma and present it on Figma. You understand? So, like I said, there is no perfect work. There's always that one work that just gets you started. There's always that one work that gets you started. And that one work is what you need to understand. So you need to start now. Improvement happens along the way. So if you want improvements to come to you, they happen along the way. They don't happen now, they happen along the way. Okay? So it is when you've done that first design, you see the mistake you made in that first design, you do the second one, you see the mistake you did, you do the third one, you see the mistake that happened, you do the fourth one. By the time you are in the 10th one, your mistakes will less. So that means your 11th design we have lesser mistake than your first, your second, your third, your fourth to your 10th design. Your 11th design we have less mistake than your 10th design. Your 12th design we have less mistake than your 11th design. Your 13th design we have lesser mistake than your 11th than your 12th design. And before you get to 20, meaning people will barely be even be seeing any mistake. That's why you see some designers who design today and be like, oh, this design clean, this design bad. But that person did not wake up and started creating designs like that. That person started somewhere. So for that design to be that clean, it means that that person dedicated a huge amount of time, months, years, before they could create a design that you could barely see a mistake in now. But there was a time that if they create the design, even you now that's a newbie, you even spit on the design. But the reason why you're able to not see any mistake today is because they made all the mistakes years before. So you have to start now. So now trying to be everywhere at once, just like what I stated earlier, when it comes to social media, all of you want to be everywhere. You want to be on Twitter, you want to be on TikTok, you want to be on Instagram, you want to be on LinkedIn, you want to be on Threads, you want to be on Pinterest, you want to be on I don't know, there are so many social media platforms out there. You want to be on is it Blue Sky? Blue Sky is the one now that is trendy for people. Because the owner of Twitter, since Elon Musk bought Twitter, he now went to go and create Blue Sky. You want to be there. I think Trump has his own again. I've forgotten that one that Trump has. Is it Truth? Truth Social. Truth Social. That is the one that Trump has. It's like Twitter too. You also want to be there. If you want to be everywhere, it doesn't work. Because we know what happens at the end of the day. You get burnt out. You get stretched too thin. Imagine you create a content, you have to post that content. Now you want to post that content in the morning. You have to post it on Facebook, you have to post it on LinkedIn, you have to post it on TikTok, you have to post it on Instagram, you have to post it on Twitter, you have to post it on Truth, you have to post it on Blue Sky, you have to post it on every other place you want to post that, right? Now imagine after posting it there, now when comments come in, you have to answer comments on Instagram, you answer comments on Facebook, you answer comments on Twitter, you have to answer comments on Thread, you have to answer comments on Instagram. Before you answer these things, don't you have work to do? Don't you have things to do with your life? In fact, the thing will even tire you. And you might be able to do it the next day, do it the second day. By the end of that week, the whole thing will just tire you. And you see yourself, even posting in one self will not tire you. You just get tired. Even to post in one of the social media channels, you just get tired of doing that. And that is because you've made the whole thing to tire you, or you've made yourself get tired of the whole thing before you even started. So don't try to be everywhere at once. Try to focus on platforms that matter most to your goals. You understand? It's not to be everywhere, it's to be in the place that matter most to your goals. And then the last one is ignoring feedback. Many of you, which like I said, constructive criticism is gold for growth. Many of you, right? You don't have to handle feedback. Many of you go and post your designs in places like NGD or IGD or Carter Studios, Facebook group. And when you post it, you go and write, please, bosses in the house, see and see. Some of you will even message somebody on WhatsApp and say, bosses, please see and see, or maybe in Telegram community, say, see and see, bosses, I just did a design for a client, please see and see. But when they give you see and see, you cannot handle it. And that is very bad. You need to learn how to handle criticism, right? Because the point here is for you to grow. I know there are some people that can just come out there and just tell you that your design is bad. And it's not that they're saying your design is bad because it's actually bad, just because they're just bitter. They're just bitter in their hearts. We know such people exist, but there's some people that they try to, like, if you see somebody that genuinely criticizes your design and wants you to actually grow, you will see it from their comments. You understand? Because their comments will sound more mature, more articulated, and you really know that this person is actually critiquing the design, not just bashing it, if you know what I mean. So try to accept feedback. It's very important. Whether the feedback came from fellow designers, or the feedback came from your clients, or the feedback came from your employer if you're employed, handle it. The goal is for you to grow, right? You might be the designer, you might know better, you might be the one with the skills, but that doesn't mean that people don't have opinion. Because one thing I do tell people is that if you really want to know how, even I and my wife, we normally discuss it sometimes. I used to tell her sometimes when I create a design, I'll tell her to share with me her input. Now, why I don't tell her to share with me her input? Because she's not a designer, right? Please, who is speaking there? Please, you need to unmute your mic. Sorry, you need to mute your mic, please. So as I was saying, now when we are talking about this criticism, so as I was saying, I and my wife normally used to do something. When I finish creating a design, I'll ask her, please criticize the design or tell me what you think about the design. Now, the reason why I even prefer her own criticism is because she's not a designer. So she is going to design, she's going to criticize or share with me her opinion from a place of a natural client, like an actual audience. Now, what do I mean? When you create a design for a business or for a client, who are the people that are mostly going to see that design? It is these designers, is the client's customers, right? So in this case, since my wife is not a designer, which means she's going to see my design from a place of not the creative aspect, but from a place of a consumer. So if she doesn't buy into the design, it means that my client's customers are not going to buy into the design. I don't know if you guys get where I'm driving at. But a fellow designer might understand where you're coming from. They might understand what you did, understand where you're coming from, understand why you implemented certain things. So they will see it from the creative side of things, not from the consumer, because it is natural to be biased in that way. So a fellow designer will see things from the place of, okay, they are a fellow creative, right? So they understand why you possibly chose a particular color or why you went with a particular layout. So they might truly understand it, but that is from a biased point of view. So if you want to really know what people will think about your design, sometimes it's good to ask a neutral person. Now, I know many of us are not married, so I'm not trying to say you can ask your wife. If you have a girlfriend, ask your girlfriend. If you have a boyfriend, ask your boyfriend. But if you don't have, ask your parents, ask your mother, ask your father, ask your brother or your sisters that are not designers anyway. They will give you their own opinion from the place of a consumer, because they are going to see the design the same way your client's customers are going to see the design, or the way your client is going to see the design. So if they don't understand your design, it simply means that your client's audience or your client's customers are not going to understand the design, which means something is missing. So what I normally do is that I will not ask, okay, why don't you understand the design? I'll try to explain the design to her. Sometimes she still doesn't understand. I'll ask, okay, why are you not understanding design? I should not tell me, okay, it's because of this or because of that or because of that. Sometimes I won't like to use, sometimes it can be annoying, especially when you've done a very good job and the thing is treating your belly. And every time somebody just come to tell you that the choices you made is bad, and the things can be really, really like it really scatters the head. So what you need to do, well, sometimes I still listen, I'll be like, okay, if this is the issue, okay, why don't I do like this and why don't I do like that? And by the time I fix it, I see that the design becomes better. She gets to understand the design, which simply means that the design did not only get better, but now it is actually going to serve its purpose, which means if she was able to understand the design now that I've made a correction, which means my clients' customers are also going to understand the design without stress. And that is so, don't take feedback to be a thing of, oh, they don't like my design. No, feedback is not about you. It's the design. You are just a designer. You're not the design. You understand? The design does not define you, right? The design doesn't define you. It is the process you take that defines the design, not the design defining you. So if somebody critiques your design that it is not nice, does not mean that you are not a good designer. It simply means that there are some things that needs to be upgraded. That's just all. When you buy a car, or you buy a phone today, and you use the phone, and maybe there are some things that you feel the phone is supposed to have, maybe good, better camera, or better longer battery life, or better screen, and you're not able to get it from the phone. Does it mean that the company that did the phone did a bad phone? Of course, they didn't do a bad phone. Does it mean the company itself is a bad company? It's not a bad company. It just means that that phone needs a little bit of upgrade. That is why we have versions. The phone that came out last year is not the phone that came first. Like companies like Techno and the rest of them, phone that even came out in June, an upgrade is already out. I think was it not last year that Spark 10 came out? Spark 20 came out this year. Sure, we're already in Spark 30. Who knows? By February, March, or April next year, we'll be seeing Spark 40. And just like that. So there's always going to be versions, new upgrade. So when a review is done, don't see it as, oh, they are saying that me, I'm not a good designer. No, it's just that the design itself did not serve the purpose. You just have to walk into it. So now, what are the key takeaways from today? Number one, your brand is your story. Make it authentic and intentional. Number two, building an online presence takes time, right? It takes time. It's not something you do overnight. I told you, I began taking my Instagram very, very seriously in 2021. And this is 2024, which is 3 years plus now. And it was like at the end of 2021, and around September, October. That was when I started taking my Instagram very, very seriously. I started taking myself. In fact, that was when I started building my online presence. That's when I took building my online presence very seriously. 2021, and here we are in 2023. I'm sure many of you didn't know me in 2021. Many of you didn't even know me in 2022. And I'm definitely sure many of you didn't even know me last year. Some of you got to know me this year. And some don't know me yet. It's maybe next year they will get to know me. Some won't even know me in 2025. Some will get to know me in 2026. So it takes time. So don't kill yourself thinking that you are far behind, or see, you're only far behind when you don't start today. Okay? There's only today to repair tomorrow. If you've made a mistake in the past, or if you've not started before, it's already gone. There's nothing you can do about it, but you can do something about tomorrow. And that's what you need to be focused on. You can't do anything about yesterday, but you can do something about tomorrow and focus on that. And then the last one is share your work, connect with others, and don't be afraid to learn and grow. So share your work, learn to share your work, learn to connect with other people, and never be afraid to learn and to grow. It is always good to learn and to grow. It's always interesting. After all, nobody's beating you. This is not school. You need to be afraid of taking some sort of exam, or you need to write tests, or you need to write, notes. No, you can just go on YouTube, see it as fun. You go on YouTube, learn, watch some YouTube tutorials, right? It's a fun thing to do. We all like to watch Netflix, so why can't we watch some YouTube tutorial videos? Learn it. I still watch tutorial videos. I still follow people like Will Patterson. For those of us who follow some great designers online, I follow Will Patterson. I follow Satori Graphics. I follow there's this other guy that is mostly an illustrator guy. I follow this guy Benny Productions, one of the Photoshop guru. I follow Pix Imperfect. I watch his videos. I watch their videos a lot. I follow them. Come to the King of Adam, or I follow Krizu and the Future on his on YouTube. I watch his videos. His videos nowadays are usually 1 hour plus, and I still watch them. I still learn. You understand? So never be afraid of learning. It's going to really benefit you. I might know how to use Figma, but I see follow other people who use Figma online today. I follow them, learn one or two tricks from them. I even follow Figma themselves on both Instagram and on YouTube. I subscribe to them. Even Framer, the people that are using building my portfolio website, I follow them both on Instagram and on YouTube. I learn from them. I still learn some tutorial videos from them. So it's never too late to learn. Only learn to grow, and you're never too old to learn. There's no point that you got into and you be like, I don't know, Rich. No, we all still keep on learning. In fact, the point you stop learning is the point you start to fail. The point you stop learning is the point you start becoming irrelevant. You understand? So I'm definitely sure the reason why you get to hear me, maybe those of you probably got to really know me in 2022. The reason why it's like up to today you still get to hear about me is because I kept learning and I kept finding ways to remain relevant. And what do we mean by relevant? It means they talk about people got to know you this year, and the next year, just like there's some people that you got to know them last year, and it's like it's been long you heard from them. You didn't see their content, you didn't see anything about them. It's just because they just stopped being relevant. Understand? Why there's some people that you knew about them last year, you still got to know them about them this year, and you're still going to know about them next year. In fact, it's like each year they keep doubling that, each year they keep breaking more grounds. It's because they kept learning, they kept improving, and they didn't allow themselves to slow down. So you need to cultivate that. So, what are your take home today? Or what is your take home today? You don't need to be perfect to start building your brand. You just need to start. You just need to start, stay consistent, and let your growth tell the story. Understand? Like I said, you don't need to be perfect. So whether you are building a personal brand or you're building a business brand, you don't need to be perfect. When I started my agency, it was not perfect. When I started my academy, man, I didn't even know much about design when I started my academy. When I started my design academy, I didn't even know much about design, but I started it anyway. But today, we've been able to train students both in Nigeria, in Ghana, in Sierra Leone, from even Togo. We've even trained students from South Africa, from the UK, and from the US. But when I started, I didn't even know any. I think when I started the first course that I started with in my design academy was 2,000 naira, and that was far back 2022 or thereabouts. So 2,000 naira I was need to sell the course. 2,000 naira for full branding course, like full branding course. I was selling for 2K. You understand me? So I didn't start perfect, but today at least we've gotten somewhere where we have a lot of alumni who are breaking brands, who are breaking grounds in the design industry. You understand? We have a lot of design people that we have a lot of students that have gone through us. We have people like Joshua Jesus. Many of you must have known him, or many of you should know him. Joshua Jesus went through our academy multiple times. He has bought some of our from our courses. Some of you know this guy they call Danobo. Danobo Designs Online. He went through my academy. You understand? So these are designers who are currently breaking grounds in the design industry, and some of them who are also logo designers and visual identity designers that are creating good things. Some of us know Aniekan that uses Figma now to design. He posts his design a lot on IGD. Aniekan Israel. Now he learns Figma from me. These are people who have gone through our academy, and but when we started, it was not easy. But like I said, you don't need to be perfect to start building something. You just need to start, then you need to stay consistent. No matter because you're going to be faced with a lot of discouragement. And when you start, you're going to be faced with a lot of discouragement. You're going to see people who have already gone way ahead of you. And you're going to start asking yourself, am I late to the party? You're not late. When I started 2021, then I had people who were 19 years old, who were 15, who were 16, that were breaking grounds when I started in 2021. Like these people I was almost 10 years older than them. And they were doing way better than I was. It was discouraging. I'm not going to come and tell you here that was Odeshi, that I did not feel anything. It's a lie. I felt a lot of things. It was not easy seeing people that I'm like 10 years older than, but because of how much ground they've broken and because of how much authority they built, I'm even forced to call them sir. Like people I'm almost 10 years older than, I'm forced to call them sir because they've broken more grounds than I did. But I had to remain consistent. And today now, at least I don't really need to call them sir. I can call them bro. I can call them what's up. At least there's no need for using the sir because now, the people I'm now looking for up to, I can now be able to say I'm living up to expectation now. So that is it. Same thing. Some of you are looking up to me. And trust me, if you start today and you stay consistent, in 2, 3, 4 years' time to come, you start living up to expectation. And you don't even need to come inside again to introduce yourself to me. So that is basically it. So I'll say it has really been fun staying with you guys today. Thank you so much for listening to me. It has really been an amazing time. It has really been fun. It has really been fun and amazing, being with me and stay with me in today's session. I hope you really learned, and I hope I was able to explain as much as I could. And I hope my explanation worked well, and you're able to you're able to understand every bit of the explanation I gave today. And I can't really wait to see what you make, and I can't really see the grounds you're able to break. And yeah, I really look forward to seeing you guys all succeed and excel in your endeavors. Thank you very much. Yeah, yeah, you're welcome. Yes, in the next 5 minutes. I'll just take a couple of maybe one or two questions, please, because it's almost 10 p.m. over here. So it's almost 10 p.m. I won't really say over here, but it's almost 10 p.m. So let me just take that one or two questions, please. Thank you. Yeah, okay. Okay. Okay, so if I'm getting you right, you are kind of asking that if it is compulsory to be a generalist before you become a specialist. Is that right? I won't really say it's compulsory, but I'll say it is something you just have to do. Now, let me give you an example. For example, now, many of us, maybe some of us are already in secondary schools, some of us maybe we've gone into higher institution. But one thing was for sure, when we started our SS1, for some schools, I know some schools don't really do it, but for some secondary schools in Nigeria, when you begin your SS1, do you choose immediately whether you're going to go to sciences or arts or social science, right? You get to do everything first, like every subject. Then, when you've tested all subjects and you've now seen the differences, before you can now decide, okay, and also coupled with whatever it is that you want to study in your higher institution, that's what to now determine whether you want to go to the sciences or you want to go to the arts or you want to go to social sciences, right? You don't get to choose immediately. At least from your SS1, you don't get to choose. You first of all do all subjects. Then it is later on, maybe either from SS2 or some schools do it from the second term of that SS1. Some will start from the third term, while some starts from SS2. From right here in Benin City, Edo State, we normally start from SS2. When I was in school, then we started in SS2. So in SS1, you will do everything. Then from SS2, you will now choose whether you want to go to the sciences, art, or social science. Right? So you can see that it was a bit compulsory. Now, it's not that it was difficult for you to go to SS1 and maybe the school already tell you, you already begin to decide that, okay, from SS1 you're going to sciences. That means you will not see anything about social business studies. I mean, is it business studies? I mean, commerce. You won't do anything like commerce. You won't do anything like maybe what's the other one? There's commerce. There's economics. I think. I mean, is economics general? I've been forgotten these things. But you see some of these subjects, like literature and English, here, for example, that kind of these are one of the major things. And maybe if you go to the arts or the social science, it simply means that you won't do physics, you won't do chemistry, you won't do biology, all these things you won't do them, right? But you have to first of all do everything before you cannot choose. That is same thing with design. Now, when you start with design, some of us might end up learning. Basically, when you start your design journey, we normally start with learning social media designs and flyers and the normal general normal designs that we know. Right? That is some of the things that we start with when we begin our design journey. It is later on we begin to say, okay, let me learn branding and visual identity, or let me learn UI UX. But you see some people that they already have all these things, but you see them sticking to UI UX. But if they didn't learn UI UX or if they didn't try it out, they wouldn't have known if UI UX was for them or not for them. So I won't say that it is compulsory, right? It's like it's a compulsory, like your life depends on it, that you must be a generalist first, but it is advisable. You see, there's a difference. You know those things they normally say that it is not compulsory, but it is necessary. Yes, it is not compulsory that you must be a generalist, but it is necessary. So it's not like anybody's going to beat you. There is no law that says you must be a generalist first, but it is advisable so that you will really, really know what resonates well with you. You understand me? When I started learning design from the Quack design, from the Quack computer school I went to back then, they started by teaching us just CorelDRAW. And when they were teaching us CorelDRAW, they say whenever we are coming to lesson, if we see all the church flyer on the ground, we should pick it and come and replicate the design. Now, that was kind of a generalist move. But how then did I land myself fall in love with branding and visual identity and logo design? Is because I had to do it first, and I realized that I loved it. I loved creating identities for businesses, and I fell in love with it. But that doesn't mean that I'm not still doing the flyers and social media designs and all those kind of designs. Doesn't mean I'm not doing them again. I still do them. Poster designs, I still do them. I even do UI UX. I do web design because I built my website myself. That of myself, my portfolio, my personal brand, my academy, and even my agency's website. I did them myself. So I also do web design, but I still find myself coming back to brand and visual identity. You understand? It doesn't mean that if a client comes to me and say, "Please, I would like you to design our website," I will take up the job. I will deliver a good thing. But they just something about branding that always just breathes that's extra refreshing life into me whenever I'm doing it. So that is just my specialty. You understand? So like I said, it's not compulsory. Like it's not a must, but it is advisable. So you can decide whether you want to make it a must that you must be a generalist first before choosing, or you can decide to say, okay, I already made up my mind. I want to follow the crowd. Okay, everybody jump into UI UX. You jump into UI UX. What if you don't make your way into it? What if that is not where your energy? I won't call it destiny now because you're not dealing with religious things and spirituality now. So I won't really say, oh, what if that is not where your destiny lies? So I won't use that word. What if that is not where your strength lies in? You just end up wasting years and you won't make any profit from it. So I remember when everybody was like, there was a year, that should be 2022. Almost everybody like, what are you learning? UI UX. So come, I'm learning product design. I'm learning UI UX. It's like, what is going on? Everybody, but shit has died down now. How many people now have you seen them shouting and screaming in your ear that they are UI UX designers, they are learning? It was a trend once at a time. Everybody is like, if you're not learning UI UX that period, you're a loser. Even when you are making money in your flyer design or you're making money in your logo design, but anybody that was not learning UI UX back then, it was like they're just wasting away their life. But today, everybody now have calmed down. That is just life for you. So I'm not trying to say that it is a must or you must do it, you must be a generalist, but it is advisable that you try at least to have a taste of these different types of design and then see the one that really resonates with you and see the one that really works well with you. That one that you always find yourself deriving joy whenever you're doing it. So that's just what I would say. Like I said, it's not a must, but it's advisable. Oh, yes, yes, I do. That's a very good question, and I'm sure a lot of newbie designers are also finding difficulty with that particular aspect. You see, there's something they call fictional project, right? There's something they call fictional project. I think I made mention of it earlier, and I say that update your portfolio, build a portfolio, even if it's not with a real project. You can create personal projects, you can create fictional projects, right? Use the build a portfolio. Client doesn't come every time; it's normal, you understand? But at least you need to show people what you've been able to do before in the past for them to know that, okay, this guy knows what he or she is doing. The goal is to sell what you can do. It's not to sell how many clients you've worked with in the past. It's not to sell how many real projects you've done. The goal is to sell what you can do, how you can think, how you can solve a particular project problem. That is the goal. So you can do fictional projects. You can go to some website that can generate brief for you. Use those brief to learn how to analyze brief. And there's one website they call Good Brief. Go there. I don't know if any of you know Good Brief. There's a website called Good Brief. Let me just quickly show you guys. Yeah, there's a website called Good Brief. So you can go to uh, Good Brief. Yes, Good Brief. You can go to Good Brief. When you go there, let this stuff just open up now. When you go to Good Brief, it's a very good website that can help you to generate like a real client brief. You can use that one to to create. There's even another they call fake clients. There's another called fake clients. There's this one they call new design briefs every week. This one's kind of creates a really, really realistic brief. There's this one called fake clients, design brief generator, and I think, but the most common one is this good brief. So once you go to this good brief website, you can just come in here, right? Then you can choose what type of project you want to do. They have different variety. They have logo, they have brand identity, they have illustration, they have packaging, they have billboard, they have website, they have even you cannot choose random if you don't want to decide on anyone. Then just pick random. So let's say brand identity, for example, now. So I've chosen brand identity. Yeah. Now I'll come here and choose, okay, what industry do I want the brand identity brief to come from? Do I want to design for a technology brand or a food brand, a retail store, an entertainment, fashion, sports, education, transportation, real estate, travel, or random? So let's say you want to go for tech. You go for tech, and then you click on generate. And within seconds, they've generated a brief for you, company description, job description, and the deadline. Though you don't really need to follow the deadline, you can finish it up in how many days you want. It's not a real brief, but it's still good to use the deadline just in case you want to cultivate that sense of discipline. For example, now maybe you want to create this sort of discipline where you want to really teach yourself how to work. Let's say it was the client actually gave you 10 days. Can you be able to do it in 10 days? Can you be able to meet up in 10 days and stuff like that? So you can go through the brief. If you don't like the name of the company and all those kind of a thing, you can come back here and regenerate. You can just regenerate and then you have a new brief entirely. This one is with 9 days. Maybe you look at the brief. Maybe it's too difficult for you. That is something people will not want to tell you. Maybe it's too difficult or you don't just like how the brief is going, or you don't really understand it, you can generate on that one. And now, let's say, okay, you're tired of tech, you've done the one for tech, and you say, okay, let me do for food. You go for food, you generate on that one for food, you see a new brief, and then you can export it either as a PDF or you can export it as an image so that you can have a copy of it because you might come back to this website and this whole thing have refreshed. So that means if you're working on this particular brief, for example, now, you might leave this site or close your system or shut it down and come back. This will not be here again. To be a total different brief. So to make sure that you still have that brief in your position, you can export it as PDF and voila, within seconds, the thing will export as a PDF and here you go. It has downloaded and just hold on. And now you can open it as a PDF file and you can go through the brief. I can go through the brief, see it here, you can go through the brief and you can work with this brief. So with this, by working on this, you can now, that kind of a thing, you've created a project where you can actually now do everything within that project. At least all those mock-ups you've been buying and everything, they cannot just be sitting in your system gathering dust. Utilize them, put them to work. At least it's not like if you use a mock-up today, you're not allowed to use it again. So use it. They shouldn't be just in your system gathering dust and just be there. So let's say you want to do brand identity, you want to do something like a billboard. Billboard can also serve for social media design because whatever you do in a billboard is almost the same thing you do for a social media design. So you can go for billboard and decide to do for, let's say, a real estate or sorry, let's say a fashion, and they will generate a brief for you regarding to a billboard design. And there you go. You have the name of the company, company description, the job. You must create a billboard advertising for the company. The ad should be blah blah blah. They want it in 2 days. You can also export as an image or a PDF, and then you go. This is a place that you can actually create a brief that you can use to create fictional projects. And if you're struggling with colors, they already have a new extension here called Good Palette. They have Good Brief. They also have Good Palette. You can come here to generate some cool, amazing colors that you can use for your project. And you can see how these colors play well. Let's say at least they've shown you how to play well in a UI mockup, like in the combination. This is how you can actually can see in an actual website how the colors are used. And there you go. So let's say you want to use this one, or let's say these are colors and this. You can also generate new ones. You can generate new ones. You can see you can generate new color palettes if you want, and you can also be generating other ones if you want. You can see you can generate other cool colors if you want. And there you go. And then when you're done, let's say this one you want, you can just export it. Either you can copy it as SVG so that you can put it in your whatever, so that you can easily extract each of the color codes and everything and use it in your design. So there you go. You understand? So there are all these resources already online. So yeah, yeah, those are places you can your portfolio and you can make it really, really useful for yourself. So you don't, yeah, gigs might not be coming all the time, but that doesn't mean that you have to wait till gigs coming before you build your portfolio. You can use fictional projects, build your. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, hello. Yeah, hello. Okay. Okay, so if I'm getting your question correctly, you're saying that, for example, now you've been an artist or you've never you really used any design software, and now you want to go into using design software and you want to begin it and you want to start using it. So you're not asking, as somebody in that situation, how do you start from scratch? Is that not what you're asking? Okay. Now, first, I want to help you. I want to disapprove a statement there, and that is expert. There's something like an expert. You understand? Nobody's an expert. I don't claim to be an expert. You understand? You see, when when you see people, I do laugh when I see people coming to say, I'm an expert graphic designer. I'm an expert social media designer. I'm an expert brand. There's something like an expert because the moment you start having that idea and you start having that idea in your head that you're an expert, you subconsciously stop learning. I've seen a lot of people that has really happened to. Although I can really testify, this is one thing I can boast about. It has not happened to me because I've never claimed to be an expert. In fact, whenever I'm communicating with a client, I was conversing with a client once every time, and the client told me that a friend of hers referred me to her. She told me that I'm an expert. After she has finished say everything, I told her that well, I do not regard myself as an expert, but however, I regard myself as somebody who can actually get a job done for you. You see, there's a difference. You see, the moment you start telling yourself you're an expert, I'll answer your question, don't worry, but I just want to try to change that ideology in you. The moment you start telling yourself you're an expert, number one, you stop learning. Number two, you put yourself under unnecessary pressure, which might end up making you to lose guard. And what do I mean by making you lose guard? Is that when you put yourself inside unnecessary pressure, you end up trying to over deliver. And sometimes when you over deliver, you under deliver. And that is very, very bad. So I told the client that look, I don't see myself as an expert, but you see the way I changed the statement. Now I didn't change the statement from somebody who is just an expert, but I changed the person that I changed myself from not somebody you need to see as an expert, but somebody you need to depend on and somebody you can trust. There's a difference. When somebody comes to you and in fact, when you come to me and tell me that you're an expert, in fact, I stop believing in you. That's my own way of seeing things. And a lot of clients also, that is where they see things. When you come to tell people that you're an expert designer, you get to take clients you're an expert designer, immediately they stop believing you because you know why? There's something like an expert. We are all bound to make mistakes. You see that your design, you think, okay, we've all seen this new Jaguar rebrand, the Jaguar rebrand that has been going on online for the past few days, and many of you must have, if you're a designer and you don't know of this thing that is going on, then I wonder where you've been living. Whether you're living under the rock, you let me know. Now, this whole Jaguar Moto rebrand that has been going on over the past few days, do you want to tell me that people that are rebranded are not experts? Like, do you want to tell me that they don't consider themselves as an expert? But we've seen what they've done, right? And a lot of people are not pleased with it. In fact, not a lot, like extremely, almost everybody are not pleased with the redesign that they just did. But but if you see them, but is it not a design agency that did it? Won't they be considered as an expert? So that is what I'm trying to say. So you need to change the narrative from seeing yourself as an expert to see yourself as somebody who gets the job done. So once you change that narrative in the eyes of your clients or the eyes of your customers, what happens is that you build better confidence. You build a natural confidence that just comes naturally. It's not a forced confidence. When you tell somebody you're an expert, it means you are forcing the person to now believe in your skills. But when you tell the person that I don't see myself as an expert, rather I see myself as somebody who gets the job done, you will now switch it up from forcing them to trust you and have confidence in you to making them to naturally have confidence in you. So that's out of the way. Now, to answer your question, well, the simple thing there is just starts by learning some basic principles. See, I always normally, if you ask somebody else this question, they might tell you to go and learn the skills. But the truth is that there is more to just learning. Sorry, they'll tell you to go and learn the software, like where you're going to learn how to use Photoshop, go and learn how to use CorelDRAW, or how to use Adobe Illustrator, or how to use Figma, or how to use whatever tools you want to use. If you're a smartphone designer, they might start telling you to go and start using that to go and learn how to use Canva or Pixel Lab or whatever. But that's by out of the way. Me, I won't tell you that the first thing to learn is to learn these tools. I will tell you to learn the principles, learn the elements of design first, learn design thinking. You understand? Learn why you're designing, why you have to design. So learn design thinking, learn how the different elements of design, things like colors, typography, everything about typography. Because learning typography is not just all about understanding what serif fonts is, what sans serif fonts are, what slab scripts, or how to do font combination. You also need to learn the licensing or the legal part of font usage. You understand? All those things are very important. And then you need to learn other elements like shapes, you need to learn other things like images and how to use these elements of designs. These things are very important. And then when you learn the element, then you learn the principles of designs like hierarchy, proximity, alignment, balance, contrast. You have the other one, scale. You have the other one, unity. You have the other one. What is the other one? You have direction, you have flow, you have a lot of principles of design that you need to learn. You understand? So learn the principles. Then once you've learned these things, you've learned design thinking from the different stages of design thinking, which is called you have the empathize, you have the ideate, you have the testing, you have the prototyping and everything. When you learn all of that, then you can now proceed into learning the tools, which is you can now decide to choose whether you want to learn Photoshop, or you want to learn CorelDRAW. And now to combine the answer to your question and to combine the answer to Colin's question when he was talking about is it Collins or Emmanuel that asked about the generalizing whether it's a must? I think that should be Emmanuel that asked whether it's good to generalize. Now to combine your question, Mohammed, with that of Emmanuel, I'll say that on that reason why you need to learn all these basic is because you need to learn what tools you need to be using. Because if you don't learn the general aspect, like if you're not a generalist first, you might not be able to understand what each tool should be used for. That's why we have a lot of designers now that uses Photoshop to design logo designs. Like they use Photoshop to create logo designs, and that is very, very bad. Professionally, that is not the tool for logo design. If you want to create logos, you have to use vector-based illustration, vector-based softwares like CorelDRAW, Illustrator. You have to use something like even Figma. You have to use something like Affinity Designer. These things are vector-based or Vectinator. All these things are vector-based softwares. So if you want to go into illustration, logo design, these are the tools you need to learn. You understand? But if you want to learn web design, you don't need why do you need to learn Photoshop? You don't need Photoshop to use to do web design. You need things like Figma, you need things like web builders like Framer, Webflow, Wix, WordPress, and the rest of them, Elementor. These are the tools you need to be a web designer. If you want to be a UI UX designer, you need to learn things like Figma, you need to learn things like Sketch or Adobe what is Adobe's own? Is it Adobe XD? Though they have kind of it's not a forgotten thing. You need to learn Figma, Sketch, and some other new. You need to learn Lunacy and some other new UI UX design software that are coming up today like Motif and Visibly, I've forgotten them. So all these things are tools for UI UX designers. If you want to learn motion or animation, you need to learn things like Adobe After Effects. If you want to go into 3D, then you need to learn things like Blender, Spline, and Cinema 4D. All these things, you see, but if you're not a generalist, you won't know which tool is which and which tool needs to serve which. You understand? That is why, like I said, that's why we have people designing logos with Photoshop. Is because they didn't bother to be generalists. They just felt, okay, I want to be a logo designer, but because they were not generalists, they didn't really learn the foundation. They didn't know which tool needs to be used for which. And yeah, so that is basically it for you, Mohammed and Emmanuel. So that is why you need to learn these things. So, like I said, I won't tell you to go and learn the tools first, but rather learn design thinking first. From design thinking, you learn the element of design. You learn the principles of design. Then you can start messing around with any design tool of your favorite. It could be Photoshop, Illustrator, CorelDRAW, Figma, and whatnot. So these are the things you need to learn. Okay. I think that should be my last question for today. Okay. Let me just quickly answer this person's question here. Then I'll call it a day, please. This is Leo Woodall. Leo Woodall. I think that should be your name. So you asked, please, sir, you talked about staying consistent online. So as a student, how do you do that? Well, I'll give you the general answer because, to be sincere with you, this is way deeper than you may think. You see, when it comes to consistency, especially as a student, or even anybody, whether you're a student, a worker, it's almost the same thing because whether you're a parent, you're a worker, you're a student, there's already something in your life that 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 needs more time, that demands more time. So as a student, you have your lectures, you have reading, you have assignments, you have projects, you have exams. So that's it for students. If you're a worker, you have your daily job, right? You have your 9 to 5. And if you are a parent, you have your children that is already taking up most of your time of the day. So yes, it's not easy balancing this thing or staying consistent as a student or a worker. So I'm just going to give you the general sense because, like I said, this is deeper than you think. Because if you really, really want to be a designer that wants to be consistent, there's a lot of discipline that goes. There's self-discipline. There's real what they call real understanding of time management, right? You need to learn time management. It's very, very important. You need to learn time management and the principles of productivity. These are some of the things you really, really need to dabble into. So I'm just giving general ways you can learn these things on your own. If you want me to teach you personally, you can message me after this. So please, guys. But yeah, yeah, I mentor students too. So you can reach out if you want me to mentor you or whatever. But like I said, this is way deeper than you may think, right? So if you really, really want to master how to be consistent, you need to learn time management. You need to master it. It's very important because you cannot be consistent and still manage your time as a student if you don't have time management as a soft skill. And then not just time management, you also need to learn the principles of productivity because you need to be able to be a student who wants to be a designer and also want to be consistent, right? It is really going to demand a lot from you. But you need to, like I said, you need to be disciplined. You need to learn time management. And you need to learn um, all the skills, the strategies, and principles of productivity because you need to learn how to be a student that won't fail in consistency, and you need to be a consistent designer that won't fail as a student. So you can see how you really, really need the skills of learning how to manage your time or learning the whole skill about time management and then understanding all the strategies and principles of productivity. So yeah, that is my answer for that. I hope I was able to answer everybody. So that is it from me to you guys tonight. It has really been amazing hanging out. I really look forward to doing this. If there's going to be a 2025 version, I really look forward to doing this with you guys. Collins, Emmanuel, Brian, thank you very much for hosting me. It has really been amazing with you guys. Okay. I'm going to call it a night now, and I really, really hope to. Uh, okay, this will be the last. This is going to be the last. So yeah, you can go ahead. Okay. Yes, I do, and I think I've already answered it. I hope you guys can you hear me properly. Okay, but at least you can hear me now. Okay, but can you hear me now? Can you hear me actually? Okay, so as I was saying, yeah, talking about the whole skills, yeah, it's very possible. I actually answered it before, but let me just quickly answer it again. So yes, it's very possible for you to learn other skills and attach. Like I said, I'm specializing in branding, logo design and visual identity. But that doesn't mean I don't create web design. So I still learn web design. So I create web designs for clients. I do UI UX for clients if when the project arises. The only skill I don't really do is motion. I do a little bit of 3D, and I also do flyer designs and social media designs for clients. You understand me? So yes, I also create content for clients. Like I create carousel content and all of this kind of thing for clients when the need arises. So yes, I do all these extra skills. So it's okay. It's needed. Like yes, to wrap up, to make up more money and to make more cash. Yes, it is very very possible. So yes, you can learn a particular skill and learn things that are also related to that skill. So this can also help you to up your game. For example, now when I learned web design, now if I'm creating my invoice for my brand identity design client, I can easily just tell them that, okay, I'll do your branding and I'll also do your website for you if you want. You can see now with that, I can now be able to add extra value, extra pricing, extra everything to my invoice because now I have that extra skill. So that's basically what it has to do. So yes, it's possible to learn the normal general graphic design that you know and still add other skills behind it to either boost your portfolio, get you better job opportunities and all of that. So yes, because sometimes you might want to apply for a job and they don't need a graphic designer, they need a UI UX, they don't need a UI UX, they need a web designer, they don't need a web designer, they need a motion designer, they don't need a motion designer, they need a 3D designer. At least you having these skills can give you that upper hand to like at least okay, since they don't want a graphic designer, but they want a UI UX designer, at least I have UI UX design skills, I can still apply. Oh, they don't want a UI UX designer, they want a graphic designer. Oh, okay. I have my UI UX design skills and I also have the graphic design skills. I can still apply. You see, it just helps you to stand a better opportunity to either get employed or to tackle clients' projects. So yes, it's possible to to have your normal graphic design skills and still add other skills attached to it. At least it helps you to even upscale and upsell your services because now you're offering more value, you're offering um, more services, so you can easily just add more money to your pocket easily without necessarily needing to like first of all, go and ask a friend who does a particular skill. Okay, how much do you charge? You you now add it. No, this time around, since you know everything, you can just easily just give your clients your billing without necessarily stressing yourself too much. So yeah, that's it. Yeah, you're welcome. So once again, thank you, Collins, for hosting me. Thank you, Emmanuel Bryant, for hosting me. It has really been amazing with you guys this evening, and to the whole community of the Creative Kickoff Conference 2024. Thank you for being here. For those of us who have been here from the beginning to this moment, it has been really been an amazing sharing my knowledge and sharing with you guys and connecting with you guys. I hope to see you guys excel. I'm really rooting for each and every one of you. I want to see you excel. I want to see you grow. I want to see you become better designers and better brand builders. Okay, starting with building your own brand anyway. And yes, I'm really, really rooting for all of you, and I hope to see everybody win. And with that, thank you guys. Do have a lovely night rest. Take care of yourself and keep living for creativity. Bye.